What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. This is going to be straight and forward, uncut. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I have here. What you're seeing is a 1997 Honda Civic DX. I purchased this car as we said we would on the channel. I said I was going to purchase a Civic or an Integra. I found a Civic. Little backstory on this car. I bought it from a young man in Long Island who previously bought it from an elderly lady in New Jersey. However, he never registered the car. The lady in New Jersey was the original owner, and he bought the car with plans on building it, supposedly, and he never got to it. He never registered the car. It actually stayed at his job. He was a mechanic, so it stayed at his job, and he was using it to go get lunch and breakfast. Basically, that's what he was telling me he was doing it for. When I got the car, it was filthy. Don't look at it right now. It's dirty. I haven't cleaned it in a while because it hasn't been moving in a while. All right. So when I purchased the car, it was working. It was fine. All right. There was nothing wrong with it. It was completely stock. I put in the steering wheel with the hub and the energy, all that stuff. I put in the radio. I got my little Broadway mirror right there. I had this sitting around and my kids were starting to play with it, so I actually threw that in there. Obviously, it serves no purpose right now because I don't really have the power to actually use it. But it looks good. I like it. Whatever. All right. Zero accidents. There's very, very little rust right here. And then I have another one on the quarter panel, which these aren't common on these cars. It's right here. It's very little rust. This wasn't there. I just hit it because I wanted to see how deep it goes. But it's very little. It's not major. We'll take care of it. All right. So I purchased this car and everything was working on it. Then about 2 months into owning it, I purchased it back in April. My brakes sank to the floor. I was at a stoplight and they just went all the way down. So either one or two things happened. A line burst or my master cylinder went. Well, I stopped. I actually made it home very safely, very, slowly. I went down, had my hazards on. I took local streets. I wasn't that far, thank God. I made it back home, parked it, and I went underneath and I looked. I didn't see any lines burst. All right, initially. So what does that tell you? Master cylinder. Okay, master cylinder is old. It's the original one. It could go 25 years old, you know. That's what I assumed. Change out the master cylinder. My brakes are still sinking. What's going on? It turns out that the lines in the center of the car that are covered by that plastic rotted out and bursted. Evidently, that's a common thing on these cars. I didn't know that. Now I do. Okay. But hopefully this video could help somebody out who has one of these cars, or you're looking to purchase one of these cars. All right. So I wound up having to change that. Now, there are places that claim that they have the lines. Most places don't. You can look online. I wound up purchasing the blue lines that are commonly seen on eBay. The seller's actually pretty local to me. He's in Farmingdale. So I wound up purchasing those. They're stronger, they're modern, they're flexible. They're not going to rot out. I would show you, but I actually just closed the hood, and that'll be in another video. I'm not even going to go through that. Okay. Let's go down this rabbit hole now. So I changed out those lines, but I'm getting no fluid going to the rear drums because the rear drums have this cylinder in the back. I'm getting no fluid. I'm pumping, nothing. Okay. I know it's a manual cylinder. I know it's brand new lines. Okay. I checked my proportioning valve. I have no fluid going to the two ports on the proportioning valve. The proportioning valve has 4 ports, all right? Actually 6. 2 that go in and 4 that come out. 4 brakes. So the 2 on the top that come out to the rear brakes, I have no fluid coming out. Okay, maybe the valve inside, I don't know. I change it. Okay, I said, you know what, I'm not going to buy a new one. I found one on eBay for 20 bucks. It's used, purchased it. Went to bolt it in. It cracked. Okay. Went back online, found a brand new one, put that in. Now that's the third proportioning valve that I'm putting in. Well, sorry, second proportioning valve, the third one for this car. Okay. Finally, I start getting fluid to the back, but I'm getting no pressure to the brakes. So I'm like, it has to have air somewhere. There has to be air somewhere. I'm noticing that I'm getting air in the front brakes. So I look at the lines, I'm like, these lines look pretty rough. They're rusty, they're old. You know what? Let me change them out. Okay, because I know that I probably did something with the lines. Maybe when I loosened the lines from the master cylinder, they got ruined. So I wound up, long story short, changing all 6 lines to the proportioning valve on this car. Okay? So now I have a brand new master cylinder, brand new lines, brand new proportioning valve. Okay? Car works. Great. Take it to work. Everything's fine. Traveling home from work, my brakes stiffen up and the passenger side locks up. WTF is what I'm saying to myself. I'm not going to curse here because there may be children watching or children around you. I go ahead and I'm like, Jesus Christ, not again. Something's going on. Brake locked up. My brake booster went. Locked up this brake. I'm in Brooklyn at this time. I live far further out into Long Island. I'm in Brooklyn, and I needed to go ahead and get this car home. So I unhooked my booster. When this happened, let me just get this right. When this happened, I was actually on the highway, and I was doing about 60. I want to say I was on the Brooklyn Queens Expressway. I was doing about 60, 65 miles an hour, and I noticed that the car is lagging, and I start smelling something burning. It was in that area on the BQE where you just can't. It's an expressway. It's heavy traffic. You really can't get off like that. You can't get to the side. It's kind of dangerous. So I wound up having to drive to the next exit, which obviously is not something that I wish I had done, but I had no other choice. And that's when I noticed that this thing locked up. Somehow, some way, I disconnected the brake booster. It stopped with the pressure, and then the next thing I know, I was able to reconnect it, and it worked fine for a little while. But I noticed that when I started getting home, my brakes went sinking all the way down to the floor again. I said, something happened. Oh, man. So what did I do? Okay, I looked around. I'm like, it can't be the master cylinder. It can't be. So I wound up changing out my calipers because these are really old. Maybe a seal broke or something like that. I was getting air in here, so I wound up changing those. Still, I'm getting no pressure. Okay, so I go ahead and I change the cylinders for the rear drums. Still, no pressure. This is not going on a month. Now, I say it's going on a month, not because I'm working on it every day, but because I'm only working on it once a week. That's all the time I have to work on it. All right. I go ahead, and this past Sunday, I was out here with my father-in-law, and him and I just going back and forth. We're looking at it. We're disconnecting stuff. We're putting stuff back together. We're like, there's nothing has to happen here. We're pumping. No pressure whatsoever for the brakes. I had the car up in the air. The wheels are moving, but I got no pressure stopping the brakes. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I unbolt the master cylinder, and with a pen, a marker, more than likely, I pushed it in as the car was moving, in the air. As it was in drive, I pushed in. I have no pressure in the master cylinder. I said, how could this be? I said, all right, you know what? I'm off this week from work. I'm on vacation. I went on Amazon, and I ordered a master cylinder. I just didn't want to go back to the stores and pick up another one, and oh, you got to come back with the original. Screw it. I went on Amazon. I found me a Dorman, brand new, in the box. I said, let's see. I go ahead and I installed that about 35 minutes ago, and lo and behold, everything works now. I got brakes, the car is back on the ground, thank God, the wheels are on, and I have brake pressure. I don't know how. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of it because the brake booster failed. It ruined the master cylinder, which you probably saw it here. All right, take it. Look at this. This is a brand new one. Brand new. All right. The only dirt that's on here is the dirt that I put on there. Right? Oh, I dropped my tools. Gotta get that. Okay. So long story short, basically I have an entire brand new brake system. In the future, we're gonna change out the lines that go from the main line to the caliper, and we're gonna do the rear disc change. I will go over in detail this car. Yes, this is a brand new car for the channel. I'm gonna work on it. There is a lot to do, but thank God it's not as much as crazy. It does need a paint job, so please don't judge. It does need a paint job. Definitely needs wheels. Suspension's okay for now, but it's too hot to be changing it. I'm gonna gather up a bunch of parts, and then I'm gonna start, putting in my little things here and there. Thank you guys for tuning in. There will be more on this car as I go along. This interior did not look like this, by the way. It was actually very, very, very filthy. It looked like nobody had ever cleaned this car whatsoever, so I wound up cleaning all this thing. That is a Grant steering wheel, not a Sparkle or a Momo or anything like that. It has a adapter for the quick release hub, and there it is. And then I have my Alpine radio. I changed my Pioneer speakers because one of them were blown, so I put some new Pioneer speakers in there. For some reason the rear speakers don't work, but I don't really care much, because in the future what I'm gonna do is probably wind up taking out the back, not the headline or anything like that, but taking out the back and caging it, or I'll see if I can just leave the back like that and put a cage in here. This is gonna be like a fun car for me. Eventually I'm gonna swap the engine and go K-Series. I'm just gonna go straight to K-Series, and I want to turbo it as well. Right now I think what I'll do for money reasons, see about swapping it over. It's automatic, so I'm gonna swap it over to manual and put a D16. Obviously it has a D16 in it, but it's a Y7, so I'm gonna probably wind up putting a Y8 intake manifold and putting a turbo on it, and that's it for now. And obviously suspension work, good quality parts. Some things, I'm not gonna go crazy. Like for instance, this right here, traction bar, I got it really cheap. I was just gonna slap it on, but the bolts for the actual tow hooks are rusty and nasty, so I'm just gonna buy new ones, and then we'll put this on. And but now I'm gonna actually store it, and then we'll put it on when we have other parts, front suspension, lower control arms, things, trailing arms in the back, camber arms, upper arms, whatever, all that's good stuff. All right, the paint job, I'll see, maybe I'll do something back here. If not, then I'll just take it to like a body shop, and I'll have them paint it. I need a new bumper, but I don't know whether I want to change to a 99 to 2000 front end, or I want to keep the 96, 97, 98 front end, and then put like a C West bumper on there, or put like a front lip with this one. But obviously this bumper needs to go. I want to get those clear taillights, because what I want to do is also do like kind of like a 90s, like back in the day, 90, 99, 2000. Certain things you had on your car, or certain things you had on these cars, and they made it like, you were a street racer. I want to say that, street racer. But I kind of want to do that because back then, that's when I saw these cars, and that's when I really fell in love with them. That's when I always wanted one in high school. So now, as my adult years, I actually purchased one. It's filthy. I gotta clean it. Which, now that the brakes work, I can take it with me. And what I'll do is I'll stop at the car wash on the way somewhere this week, and I'll get it nice and clean, vacuumed and everything, and make it look pretty. Okay, guys? Well, I'm sorry this is such an introduction like this, but this is the introduction. Certain things I did not do because, or show, because it just, there's about a million videos out there. We'll go into detail of this car later on. What I'll do is I'll make a video of what I did with the brake system, what I did as far as the back and things like that, cleaning it out. But just be aware, if you can't get brake pressure, but you got fluid coming out, because I couldn't find this anywhere online. You got fluid coming out, you got no air bubbles, but you got no brake pressure, check your master cylinder again. Even if it's brand new, and check it, and you'll save yourself a bunch of time. So hopefully somebody out there will be aware of this, and hopefully that'll help them out. All right, guys, until next time, take care, and I will see you soon.